The FBI just dropped a scandal so big, it makes the Kardashians look like background extras in a student film. Forget album drops. Forget Drake's heartbreak anthems. Forget Kanye yelling at inanimate objects again. This is the kind of bombshell that turns hip-hop into a soap opera with a body count. Lil Durk, King Von, and a leak from the FBI that has fans asking the question nobody thought they'd ever ask. Was loyalty just a marketing slogan, or was it all a setup? According to newly surfaced files, the kind rappers fear more than IRS letters. There's talk that Durk may have made moves behind the scenes that paint him less like Von's brother-in-arms, and more like a chess player moving pawns. Fans? Stunned. The internet? In meltdown. Twitter timelines read like crime novels. TikTok reenactments make betrayal look like a comedy skit. And Instagram is drowning in memes of Durk shaking hands with FBI agents in Photoshop heaven. This isn't just gossip. This is hip-hop history colliding with federal paperwork. And the narrative could shatter reputations forever. Was Durk really the loyal soldier he claimed to be? Or did the FBI just pull the curtain back on the coldest twist yet? Stick around. The scandal's only getting messier. The FBI files didn't just leak. They detonated. 1 minute, fans were scrolling through their feeds, arguing about Drake's latest heartbreak anthem, and debating whether Future really invented toxic masculinity. The next, the culture was staring at documents with Lil Durk's name plastered across them like a neon billboard. And suddenly, the conversation flipped from music to betrayal. You could practically hear jaws hitting the floor harder than a folding chair at a WWE match. To understand why this scandal cuts so deep, you have to rewind. OTF, Only the Family. That wasn't just a rap crew. It was a blood oath, a street scripture, a brand tattooed into the culture. Lil Durk and King Von were marketed as brothers, not by blood, but by bond. Von once called Durk his twin, and the internet took that as gospel. Their music, their interviews, their social media posts, all of it painted a picture of loyalty so strong it looked bulletproof. Fans believed it, hip-hop promoted it, and Durk leaned into it like it was his shield. When Von was killed in Atlanta in 2020, that image of loyalty became Durk's entire storyline. He inked Von's face into his skin, cried real tears in interviews, and dedicated bars to him like a man obsessed with legacy. The narrative was clear. Durk was the grieving general, carrying Von's name like a crown and vowing to keep OTF alive. To fans, it was tragic but inspiring, a brother staying true to his word. But then came the leak, the dreaded black and white paperwork, stamped with the FBI's seal, looking more like a movie script than a legal document. Buried inside were subtle but dangerous hints that Durk may not have been the ride-or-die fans thought he was. His statements didn't fully line up. His testimony seemed just a little too convenient, not a Tekashi 6X99 rainbow wig. Hey, Your Honor, it was him. Level of cooperation, but enough to raise eyebrows across the culture. And in hip-hop, even the faintest whiff of betrayal is radioactive. Fans reacted instantly. Twitter went into full-blown meltdown. Snake emojis slithered across timelines like it was National Reptile Day. Memes exploded faster than Nicki Minaj fan wars. One viral picture had Durk photoshopped in a suit, shaking hands with FBI agents under a caption that read, "Collab of the Year." TikTok launched a trend where creators reenacted Durk cutting deals, while Von's hardest verses played in the background. Instagram was flooded with edits of Von as an angel, glaring down from the clouds with the coldest side-eye imaginable. But the outrage was just as loud as the comedy. For some, this leak flipped the script completely. Durk wasn't a grieving brother anymore. He was Judas in designer jeans. He glowed up too quick after Von, one fan tweeted. Y'all really think that's a coincidence? Others weren't buying it. They swore it was the FBI playing divide and conquer with the culture, the same way they targeted Pac, Nipsey, and any rapper who became too powerful. The community split instantly. Half saw betrayal, half saw propaganda. Bloggers and YouTubers smelled blood in the water. Within hours, live streams popped up like mushrooms after rain. Every title screamed louder than Funk Flex's air horns. Durk betrayed Von. FBI files destroy OTF's loyalty image. Entire panels of talking heads dissected the leaked documents line by line like they were sacred scrolls. Everyone suddenly had sources. Everyone claimed they'd been hearing whispers for months. And everyone wanted to be the first to scream, "I told you so." Meanwhile, Von's name trended harder than it had in years. His fans felt like they were reliving the tragedy all over again, except this time with betrayal layered on top. TikTok edits painted Von as the ultimate martyr, the real one taken too soon, while Durk's image mutated into the villain of a Shakespeare tragedy remixed with 808s. To the streets, it wasn't just a leak, it was a betrayal of everything OTF stood for, and Durk, he said nothing, no tweets, no Instagram lives, no cryptic lyrics dropped in the middle of the night, just silence. And in the middle of a scandal, this loud silence screams. It was like blood in shark-infested waters. The longer he stayed quiet, the more vicious the speculation became. Fans pulled up old interviews, dissecting every blink, every glance, every pause. One clip of Durk speaking about Von went viral again, not because of what he said, but because he looked away for half a second before answering. That tiny glance turned into a 20-tweet thread titled, "Proof He Lied." The replies turned it into a comedy show. That's the same look dudes give when they say they didn't eat the last slice of pizza, but you know damn well they did. From there, it snowballed. Every old lyric was suddenly suspicious. Every smile in an interview was hiding guilt. Every legal victory was proof he made a deal. Fans turned into conspiracy theorists with meme generators, and the FBI didn't even need to make a statement. The culture was doing their job for them. By the end of the week, what started as a leaked document had spiraled into a cultural earthquake. The loyal image Durk had built for years cracked like glass. Whether the FBI's hints were fact, fiction, or twisted beyond recognition didn't even matter anymore. In the court of public opinion, suspicion alone was enough to convict him. Lil Durk wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was a defendant in the biggest trial of all, the trial of reputation. And in that courtroom, the jury wasn't made up of 12 strangers. It was made up of millions of fans, haters, bloggers, and Twitter trolls, all screaming over each other, all ready to deliver a verdict. If the leak was a grenade, the aftermath was a nuclear blast. The culture didn't just whisper about betrayal, it screamed it, memed it, and turned it into a full-blown circus. This wasn't just a story anymore, it was hip-hop's new obsession, and Lil Durk was the unwilling star of a soap opera bigger than anything VH1 could script. Celebrities couldn't resist dipping their toes in the chaos. One Atlanta rapper fired off a tweet so vague yet so savage it broke the internet. Ain't no such thing as loyalty in this game. Remember that. No names, no aura, just pure smoke. Within minutes, fans connected the dots like they were piecing together a murder mystery. Then came another rapper who didn't even bother being subtle, just a single snake emoji posted on his Instagram story. That one reptile caused more hysteria than Rihanna's pregnancy announcement. And then came the memes. Oh, the memes. Social media turned into the world's largest roast session. One viral photo had Durk's face slapped on an FBI recruitment poster with the slogan, "Join the winning team." Another edit had Von glowing in the clouds, side-eyeing Durk like he was the star of a bet soap opera called Loyalty and Lies. TikTok birthed a trend called the Durk Handshake Challenge, where creators pretended to shake hands with invisible FBI agents while Von's hardest bars blasted in the background. Even SpongeBob got dragged into the madness. Fans edited Durk's face on Squidward, whispering secrets through a jail cell window. Bloggers and YouTubers smelled a gold rush. Every livestream became a courtroom where the fans played judge, jury, and executioner. Titles screamed across thumbnails, "Durk exposed," "Von betrayed from beyond the grave." Some creators even wore suits, reading the leaked pages like they were investigative journalists instead of dudes in basements chasing super chats. The FBI files turned into YouTube's hottest content series, binge-watched more than Netflix. Fans, meanwhile, went feral. Comment sections looked like war zones. Half the fans swore Durk had sold out, screaming, "Von died, and Durk leveled up too quick. You're blind." The other half defended him like die-hard Marvel fans after a bad movie. This is the feds trying to divide us like they always do. Everyone had a theory, nobody had proof. And yet the arguments burned hotter than a Kanye rant at 3 a.m. Even comedians jumped into the chaos. One late-night host joked, "If the FBI says Lil Durk betrayed King Von, that's not rap beef, that's Shakespeare with a beat drop." Another cracked, "Forget the Sopranos, this is Sopranos with auto-tune." The scandal had officially crossed over from hip-hop drama into mainstream comedy material. People who couldn't tell OTF from OVO were suddenly quoting FBI files like they were part of the case. But the most explosive part wasn't the jokes, It was the conspiracy theories. Entire threads popped up connecting dots that may or may not have existed. One viral post screamed, "Durk's rise after Von was too smooth. Grammy nods, Drake collabs, festival headlining. Y'all really think that's natural?" Nah, the feds cleared the path. Another went even further, claiming Durk's silence was part of a bigger deal with law enforcement. The wilder the theory, the more likes it got. And while the internet spiraled, Durk stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, no subtweets disguised as bars. Just silence. And that silence was louder than anything he could have said. Fans dissected it from every angle. Some called it strategic, others called it cowardly, and a few swore it was proof of guilt. He couldn't win. Drop a sad track? Guilty. Post a smile on Instagram? Guilty. Rock a suit to court? Double guilty. The man could have posted a picture of his dog, and the comments would have read, "Even the dog's in on it." By the second week, the scandal was everywhere. Von's name became a rallying cry, painted as the ultimate real one betrayed by the system and allegedly by his closest ally. Durk became the culture's Rorschach test. Half the world saw him as a victim of federal manipulation. The other half saw him as the Judas of hip-hop. And either way, his name was stamped across every headline, every meme, every group chat. It didn't matter what the truth was anymore. In the age of social media, perception is reality. And right now, the perception was poison. The FBI didn't need to confirm anything. They'd already won. They dropped a bomb, walked away, and watched the culture implode. The fans became the prosecutors. The bloggers became the witnesses. And Lil Durk was stuck in the middle, a defendant on trial in the court of public opinion. A court that never adjourns and never forgives. And the worst part? The trial wasn't ending anytime soon. When the dust started to settle, the damage was already written in graffiti across hip-hop's walls. This wasn't just a passing scandal, the kind fans forget after a week of memes and TikTok dances. No, this one carved itself into the culture with a knife. Lil Durk's reputation wasn't just questioned, it was rearranged, dissected, and branded with the ugliest label of all: betrayal. Reputation is currency in hip-hop, and Durk's was once stacked higher than his Billboard hits. He wasn't just another rapper, he was the face of loyalty, the man who turned Only the Family into a global chant. It was his armor, his anthem, his brand. But once those FBI files hit the streets, that currency devalued overnight. OTF suddenly looked like Only the Feds in meme culture. Lyrics about brotherhood sounded like PR stunts. Fans replayed his verses not as gospel but as contradictions, calling him out line by line. What used to be his strength became his weakest link. The ripple effect spread fast. Von's family and friends, already living with the grief of his loss, now found themselves dragged into the circus. DMs flooded their accounts with questions and accusations. Fans demanded answers as if they owed the public anything. Old photos of Durk and Von resurfaced, now recaptioned with conspiracy theories attached like sticky notes. What should have been memories of brotherhood turned into exhibits in a cultural trial. Even the music changed. Von's tracks became anthems of what could have been, framed as a tragic soundtrack to betrayal. His lyrics about loyalty were repurposed into captions blasting Durk. Von became immortalized as the real one, the ride or die, the man who stood tall. And by comparison, Durk became the suspect, the man forever side-eyed in memes, TikToks, and comment sections. The industry noticed too. Festivals, brands, and collaborators suddenly faced a dilemma. Sure, controversy sells, but betrayal? That's a scar sponsors don't want. Booking Durk became risky, not because his music fell off, but because his name carried baggage heavier than his entire catalog. The FBI didn't just taint his street credibility, they tainted his business credibility too. And credibility in hip-hop is oxygen. Without it, careers suffocate. Rappers can survive beef, lawsuits, even prison. But the stench of betrayal lingers like smoke in a room you can't air out. It sticks to you, no matter how many hits you drop. Durk's silence only magnified the wound. Fans begged for a statement, a lyric, a tweet, anything. Instead, he kept quiet, maybe strategic, maybe fearful. But in the age of social media, silence is louder than truth. Every day he didn't speak was another day the internet wrote the story for him. And once the internet writes your story, good luck taking the pen back. The memes didn't stop. Weeks after the leak, edits still trended. One showed Durk holding an FBI microphone during a concert. Another painted Von as an angel whispering bars into fans' ears while Durk was edited as guest speaker for the prosecution. The culture had rebranded him, and no PR team on earth could fix it. And yet, in the middle of all this, a strange paradox formed. The scandal that threatened to ruin him also made him more relevant than ever. His name was everywhere. Blogs couldn't stop writing about him. YouTubers couldn't stop theorizing. Fans couldn't stop arguing. He was the main character of hip-hop's latest season, whether he wanted the role or not. Fame has always been messy, but infamy, that's a different kind of fuel. Still, the aftermath painted a darker reality. Durk wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was a symbol. To some, he was proof the FBI would twist any narrative to fracture the culture. To others, he was living evidence that even the closest brotherhoods could break under pressure. His silence left the answer open, and the culture filled the gap with paranoia. The irony was brutal. The very man who once vowed to carry Von's name now found his own legacy chained to Von's forever. But not in the way he planned. Instead of being remembered as Von's brother-in-arms, Durk was etched into the story as the one fans weren't sure they could trust. It was Shakespeare with drill beats. A brotherhood turned tragedy, loyalty turned to dust, and the audience left questioning who really played who. For Von, the scandal solidified his place as the fallen hero. Fans elevated him to legend status, not just for his music, but for his supposed loyalty. Every lyric, every story, every meme built his myth higher. For Durk, the opposite unfolded. His every move became a clue in an unsolved mystery. His every silence a guilty verdict in the court of public opinion. And so, the aftermath left more questions than answers. Did Lil Durk really betray King Von, as the FBI's whispers implied? Or was this just another masterclass in manipulation? A system designed to make brothers look like enemies, while the real puppeteers pulled strings in the background. The truth may never matter. Because in today's culture, perception is truth. And right now, the perception has Durk standing under a storm cloud of suspicion that might never fade. The scandal didn't just dent his career, it rewrote his legacy. OTF's motto of loyalty became the biggest question mark in rap. And no matter how many hits he drops, no matter how many stages he rocks, every time his name comes up, the shadow of betrayal will walk right beside it. This wasn't just another rap drama. It was a turning point, a reminder that in hip-hop, loyalty is sacred, betrayal is fatal, and the internet never, ever forgets. The final act of this saga doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a cliffhanger. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that scandals don't die. They evolve. And this one? It's already loading its next season. And that's the story. The FBI files. The betrayal whispers. The memes. The chaos. And the cultural earthquake that left Lil Durk standing in the middle of hip-hop's hottest fire. We watched loyalty get questioned, brotherhood get rebranded, and fans turn into full-time FBI analysts from the comfort of their Twitter feeds. One thing is clear, the culture is shook. The questions aren't stopping, and this scandal is nowhere near finished. But here's where you come in. Don't just scroll past like a ghost follower. Drop your verdict in the comments. Did the FBI really expose Lil Durk? Was this all smoke and mirrors to divide the game? Or is this proof that even the tightest bonds in rap are one leaked file away from crumbling? No answer is too wild, no theory too crazy. I want to hear it all. And while you're at it, smash that like button like it owes you child support. Subscribe to The Rap Truth and turn on notifications, because you don't want to be the last person at the cookout saying, "Wait, what happened?" Around here, scandals don't sleep, and neither do we. From courtroom bombshells to street-level whispers, we bring you the tea boiling hotter than Megan Knees in July. So lock in, join the family, and keep your eyes peeled. Because in this world, one day you're the hero, the next you're the headline, and the truth is always messier than the rumor. This is The Rap Truth, where loyalty gets tested, reputations get roasted, and every leak feels like a season finale. Stay tuned, because the next scandal, it's already knocking at the door. Because the next scandal, it's already knocking at the door.